Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Cleveland TV in Diaspora. Cleveland TV is an online TV television station that is aimed to bring Africans in diaspora and in Africa together to celebrate their achievements. Today, I am Damilola Oladokun, and with me, I have a very interesting guest. His name is Mr. Yinka Abioye. He is the chairman of Inspire Africa. Africa Connect and the organizer of FESTAC Arusha 2023. Today we'll be talking about tourism in Africa and we're going to have an unfiltered conversation. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well.
Welcome. It's a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we begin our conversation today, please would like you to join us by signing up on www.clevernet.com to be a part of our growing conversation or our growing family rather. So let's start the show today. So can you tell us more about yourself? Can you introduce yourself to us?
Okay, my name is Yinka Abioye, and I'm the chairman of the Inspire Group as well as FESTAC Africa, the organizer of the FESTAC Africa Renaissance.
What is the company all about?
Wow, that's a big one. First of all, before I proceed, I would just want to apologize for the background that I'm in, because I was going to have the discussion from the office, but I had an emergency. I had to run out, so that's why I'm doing this from the car. But I'm in the back seat, so you cannot say I'm being unsafe. I'm not driving. I'm in the back seat, and the car is stationary. The Inspire Group comprises, we do a whole lot of things. We do media, we do marketing, we do festival and event organization. And then the forte of the company is how do we network Africans together to do a whole lot of things and basically promote inter-Africa trade and inter-Africa tourism. Let me just leave it at that because we don't have enough time to tell you every little thing we do.
Yeah, so I heard you say your aim is to bring Africa together to connect Africans. How successful have you been in doing that?
I would say we've been doing a great job at it. We've been doing this for probably almost a decade now. Prior to coming around and looking at this as what would be our forte going forward, I've been fortunate to have been to most of the African countries, and I mean, apart from the English, I speak some French, and I've lived in a lot of the countries before. And so, having been into a lot of the African countries, it is obvious and very apparent that what we need to do to bring all of us together is to come together some more. Because of that, as at Inspire Group, we have designed everything we have around bringing Africans together. So the biggest and the number one leg of our stool is network. To move the continent forward, we need to network. Networking allows you to know one another. And in doing that, you travel and you expose to one another. So you know what's going on. You remove pessimism, you remove side talk, you remove lies within one another. And you find out that we actually have a lot in common than what separates us. Once you do that, you need to do those first two before we can increase inter-Africa trade. So today, all of us sit down and complain, well, inter-Africa trade has only been 15% for the last so many years. It is not going to move up unless we all remove the pessimism and the prejudice we have with one another. So the only way to do that is for us to travel, to get to know one another, know what each side is producing, manufacturing, or have under the earth to sell, and use that to foster trade between us so that we don't always have to have a third party inside two African countries to trade. So that's got to be the big thing around. So everything we do revolves around those three things. And I would say the last leg of our stool is to have fun. So anytime we do all those three things, we look at fun. The idea is that fun can be a lot of things. It can be your intrinsic reward or extrinsic reward. But if you focus always on profitability, then you lose the objective of what you are doing. So network, travel, trade, and then have fun. So those are the four legs of our stool.
That's very important. Have fun, trade, network. That's very important because I think we live in a society now where collaboration is a very important part of our being, if I may say so.
Yep.
So, tourism and culture can be one of the ways the government can generate money for their countries. And we found that it's actually quite difficult for an African to travel within Africa. So, what would you say to the government? What can the government help foster the African connectivity?
Okay. I think the first thing is for a lot of our African countries, and I will say this directly to the government, is extremely myopic to try to make money off airport taxes, right? So we depend on, okay, too many people go through the airport every day. If I take $10 or $20 from them, I'm getting X amount of money. That little thinking kills tourism and travel into the country. That's number one. You will find out that when you want to buy a flight ticket between, I mean, if you look at the breakdown of your tickets, you will see the flight itself, and you now see the taxes or VAT and all these other charges that they put on it. You find that in a lot of cases is as much as 50%, sometimes even more on the ticket. And that stifles travel into the country. So you find out, for example, the travel between Lagos and Johannesburg, you would probably never find it on economy below $700. And the flight is about 5 hours. You go from Johannesburg to London, you see $400 to $500, a 12-hour flight. So that tells you something is wrong in our structure. The other thing is our visa policies. We're all who we are. We're all, to me, Africa is a country, not a continent. If you look at Africa as a country, and we can all travel between one another, yes, you can get your visa. If we still want to go ahead, do visa, and we don't have an Africa passport to travel anywhere, allow everybody to get visa on arrival and put stipulations on how much time they can spend in the country. By limiting people to visa issues, you end up not, by the time you plan to travel, then you have to apply for visa and you have delays. And so all those things are making it impossible for us to travel within the continent. Worse yet, you will now find out that the other non-Africans are able to come into the African countries without visa. So how do we grow? How do we get better if we don't allow our own children to move around the continent and be able to touch one another? In most cases, if the economy is vibrant, nobody really wants to move to any other country. I mean, maybe you visit for longer or shorter, and a lot of time you have your relatives living in there. But most people want to be at home. So, the risk of saying people immigrating or migrating, that is the reason for what is slowing down some of this integration, should be removed. And I believe the AU is doing some things around that. They need to move quickly on the African passports, and we can all touch one another a lot better.
The African passport, one Africa, united Africa, as it
Yeah.
were.
Yes.
Yeah, so I heard you say that you've traveled to lots of African countries. Can you tell us a bit of the favorite destinations that you've visited, and what you feel the government can do to make these places more attractive to the global audience?
Um, I can probably tell you that I have not been to one bad African country, because one thing I do is, as I enter into the country, I psych myself that I'm going to my country. So when I get into the country and I get too many questions by the customs or immigration, I know it's their myopic mind, and I usually give them the right answer to let them realize that they are being myopic. I once traveled to one country, and within the country, I'm not going to say the name of the country because what I'm about to say is not a complimentary thing. But I traveled within the country. I was inside the country. I had a 1-hour flight inside that country. And we were flying, I think, a 737, which has about 100 people on the flight. On the flight, I was the only non-Asian on the plane. And when we landed, this is again, we're not crossing borders. We're traveling inside the country. And when we landed in the other airport, because it's also an international airport, the immigration guy came to me and to me alone. And I gave him maybe a 5 or 10 minute lecture. I know it was a great lecture because he quickly apologized and walked away from me. Because I mean, how can I land on a plane? I'm the only African on the aircraft, and I'm the only one you can come to start asking questions. So those kind of things still happens every now and then. You will be amazed also that if we leave our prejudice out, the continent has a lot to offer, and the continent is beautiful. I always like to say this because this shocks a lot of people. One of the best fish I ever ate in Africa was in Mali. Right? So you probably say Mali? Mali is landlocked. Of course they are. But that's the source of River Niger. And there's a fish that is peculiar to that area that is actually very nice. So, you can go to different countries and see the beauty of all the countries. You can go to your East and Southern Africa on what they've done with tourism and what they've done with integration of their economies and their borders, as well as travel within those areas, which is something West Africa can learn from. There's a lot of improvement also in the north. Your Morocco, your Tunisia, like a lot of things that they've done to integrate. ECOWAS as a power works, but there needs to be things more with trade and allowing people to move around. So those are all the things that we just need to keep looking at and seeing how each country can get the benefit of the Africans moving around.
Yes, indeed, Africa is beautiful. We're going to go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Clevenard in Diaspora Television is an internet online TV service. What sets us apart is a unique combination of hit African content, first and exclusive international free movies, series, musics, news, events, documentaries, tourism, teleshopping shows, youth TV programs, and live interviews. Clevenard Diaspora Television is available throughout sub-Saharan Africa and to the diaspora markets worldwide. Take your entertainment with you wherever you go. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, laptop, smart TV, depending on your device. Watch free movies with Clevenard Movies Television. Stop searching for free movies websites and watch Clevenard Movies Television. Watch your favorite African shows anywhere at any time. Don't forget to check out our top 5 TV channels created to get you informed. TV1, Clevenard in Diaspora Television. TV2, Clevenard Youth Television. TV3, Clevenard Movies Television. TV4, Clevenard Teleshopping Television. TV5, Clevenard Tourism Television. To start watching, sign up at www.clevenard.com and follow the easy steps. Once you're done, log into the Clevenard website or app on your device, click on any one of our 5 TV channels, and hit play. We will be very satisfied and happy to welcome you to our team as one of our new business partners. Contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com.
Welcome back. This is still Clevenard TV in Diaspora, and I'm still in conversation with Mr. Yinka Abioye, who is the chairman of Inspire Africa Connect and the organizer of FESTAC Arusha 2023. And we're still having a conversation about culture and tourism within Africa. And before we left, we're talking about how beautiful Africa is and what the government can do to inspire or improve trade and networking between the African countries. And he did say that we should see Africa as a country and not just a continent if we really want to move further. ahead. So now we're going to continue the conversation. So often many Africans come to the pressure or to the idea that they can't do certain things, or they feel that they're inferior because of the perception often that the whites have planted in the heart of Africans. But I feel that Africans should be proud of who they are, because Africa is not just about war, corruption, and poverty. So, what message would you give to Africans to be proud of themselves?
That's a big one. The anything that you find negative in any country or on any continent exists in the other one. A lot of time, how you view yourself and how you present yourself. There's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Yes, there was colonialism, and those things have decades and centuries to totally be erased from one sect of people to the other. But those things should not limit what we see or how we perceive ourselves. I think if there's any doubt on yourself, just go on Google and do a research on who is the best XYZ. If you take top 10 of every profession in the world, there's an African sitting there. So if that would not motivate you, what else would motivate you? Barack Obama has a descendant of Kenya. I mean, what else is there for you not to be excited about? So there's actually no reason to feel inferior to anyone. Just look around you, and actually you also need to tell yourself you are the best to be successful. So you actually need to tell that to yourself, and those are what our kids to be doing.
Yeah. Be proud of yourself, be proud of your heritage. Being black is good. And I feel there's no better time to be African than now. The world is looking to Africa at the moment. Would you agree?
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Right. So now let's talk a little bit about FESTAC. What is FESTAC? Or what's the FESTAC festival rather?
The FESTAC Festival. So the FESTAC Festival, in the interest of time, FESTAC was a festival of arts and culture designed by the African then leaders in the late 50s, early 60s. This is when your Kenyas were getting the independence in 1963, Ghana in 58, Nigeria in 1960, and looking at what can we do to instill the African pride back after post-colonialism. The idea was to do a festival that rotates every 2 to 4 years into different African countries to let people understand and see one another and do things together and grow together. The first one was done in 1966 by Leopold Senghor in Senegal. Nigeria was to be next. Unfortunately, Nigeria went to civil war in 67. So the civil war lasted until 69, 70, depending on who you speak to. And Nigeria was not able to do the second one until 1977. 77 was done extremely well. 16,000 visitors from 70 countries. About 29 head of states came in and out during that 1 month event and left a lot of legacy behind. 77 was so successful that we believe that is actually what led to the hiatus of the event for 45 years. 45 years later, yes, I see your eyes are popping out for that.
45 years is a long time.
45 years later, we sat down and we said, this platform is huge. This platform can do a lot for the continent. And it's probably today the only nomadic festival that's going to travel around the continent, not in one location. So we brought it back last year. 45 years later, in 2022, we've done the first one in Zanzibar. And what we've changed it to, rather than only focus on the arts and culture, we've added some other components to it, because we know those are the things Africa needs. Inter-Africa trade, inter-Africa travel, sports tourism, telling our stories our own way, the diaspora link, and peace and security, to say a few of the infusion we put in, because those are the pertinent issues today on our continent. And then, we've done the first one last year, 2022. The next one is coming up in 2023. We've also done something different than 66 and 77. 66 was done in April, 77 was done in January. What we've done to make this thing consistent is to say it's going to be every year. It's going to be every May because of Africa Month. It's going to be the last week of May because of May 25th as Africa Day. And it's going to focus on all of us celebrating Africa together, at least aggressively for that week. And it's also going to move around different countries. 2022 was wonderful. We're about to do 2023 right now. Effort is ongoing right now. But something happened in less than 2 weeks ago. I had a visit to Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who was Mr. FESTAC of 1977, because he was the head of state when that happened. And
Right.
he was so excited, and he's actually offered to be our patron, at least for the next 3 years on the project.
Wow.
Because he sees the value of it, and he believes, and after explaining a lot of, he was even sympathetic to, guys, thing is big. We say, yes, sir, we know. But this is needed to move Africa forward. This is needed to increase inter-Africa trade. If you don't know one another, you can't trade. So you can say as much as you want, you can sign letters, you can send papers, but if I'm not comfortable with you, I will never deal with you. And the only way to be comfortable with you is I need to know you, to know who you are, how you think, what your home like, what you like to eat. We need to become friends. And through festival like this, friendship should grow, networking should grow between Africans, and hopefully assist in growth in inter-African trade. So that's the whole idea behind FESTAC. It's going to be every year. So I'm going to ask you, pack your bags every last week of May. I'm talking to you yourself and everybody watching and listening to me, because it's FESTAC Africa Week.
Yeah.
Travel with us, because that also allows you to go into Africa and see Africans in 1 week. Okay, you get to network with a lot of people, eat different foods, meet different people. But also, if you don't live on the continent, even if you live on the continent, it allows you to at least visit one country every year, so you get to know the continent a lot better.
Yeah, one country every year. Well, there might be some people who think, oh, I don't have anything to trade. So with your experience, what are some of the things that people have exchanged, and how can people also trade intellectually?
You always have something to trade. As long as you breathe in, you are trading something. You can trade products, you can trade services. If nothing else, you can network. If today I know you, I meet you somewhere, and you live in country X, and I'm coming in your country to spend a week. If I call you, the advice you will give me might save me some money. So I've won. So the issue is not really only about, well, am I selling X? Am I selling Y? I could by traveling, I may realize that what I'm doing in my country that is not very productive or not very profitable, if I bring it to another country, I might be making 20 times of what I make in my own country. So knowledge is power. So just the exposure of moving around has its goods to every one of us.
Great. So why Arusha? Why did you choose Tanzania this time?
So first of all, the point is he has to move around. Second of all, it's something that has not happened in 45 years. What we actually did, so I'll say, the reason you asked me is why Zanzibar in 2022?
Okay, why Zanzibar, then why Tanzania?
Okay, it's okay. I'll give you the two answers. The reason why we went in 2022 to Zanzibar was because during COVID 2020 and 2021, Zanzibar was always open for tourism. It was a tourism location. So we saw it as an opportunity to help promote tourism into Zanzibar as one of our beauty of this continent. So we went into Zanzibar also knowing that should COVID spike again in January of 2022, if we had done a lot of effort in another country where they're likely to close, we might have issues. So we said, let's go to one location, something that hasn't happened in 45 years, start from there, maybe even keep it there for 2 to 3 years to grow it to where it gets strong before we start traveling the continent. So we did the first one successfully in Zanzibar. And the second one, the people in Tanzania said, we love this thing so much, don't stay only on the island, come to the mainland. So they're not asking us to go into Arusha. And Arusha is beautiful. Arusha has Kilimanjaro. Arusha has the Serengeti, which is the wildlife migration. It has the crater. It has the Tanzanite, and on and on. It probably has also the biggest cultural museum in Africa. A beautiful sight to see. It's also the seat of ISAC, the ISAC community, and also a lot of UN organizations are based in Arusha. And it has a lot of history. Actually, there's also the center of Arusha is the exact middle point between Cape Town and Cairo if you travel by road. So there's a lot to see there. And after we've done that, the event will be moved around to other places.
That's beautiful. That's really, really, really lovely. I think we're going to go on another quick break. We'll be right back.
Hello there. Looking for an African movie? Search no further. Clevenard African Movies TV is here for you. We are dedicated to the acceleration of African films, TV series, documentaries, and lots more. Explore our movies at home or on the go. Clevenard Movies is free to watch on clevenard.com. Don't miss this opportunity. Hurry now. Sign up and subscribe today.
Welcome back. Please remember to sign up on www.clevernet.com. So I see that on the website, right, about the program, you have a variety of speakers. Can you tell us a little bit how you chose the speakers?
The first thing we looked at is what do they have to share with the continent, and are they Pan-African focused? So our guest speaker is Dr. Julius Garvey, the only surviving son of Marcus Garvey. I don't know how much you know about Marcus Garvey, but Marcus Garvey was the first Pan-Africanist Jamaican that saw all of us in diaspora coming together. So I believe he died in 1940 or something like that. So his son, who is about 88 years old, Dr. Garvey is a surgeon in the US. When he heard about what we're doing, we spoke and he said, you know what? This is what my father died and lived for. I would love to be part of this. And so he's coming in with all his contacts from the diaspora because they have been looking for platform and efforts to bring Africans together. So the other people that you see in the group, as you can probably see, is they have one or two things to say as experts in their fields, but they're also Pan-African focused. So those are the two base points for the speakers that we have. And we're looking for more. So if you have a passion for the continent and you're an expert at what you do, please reach out to us.
Right. Okay. So would you then say that culture is tourism and tourism is culture?
Amen. Culture is tourism and tourism is culture. Look, there's a lot we can do on this continent to improve ourselves. We should not be ashamed of our culture. Our culture is unique. Our culture is one of the reasons that most non-Africans travel into Africa. So we should never be ashamed of it. It's actually a big plus to who we are. The closeness to earth, the fact that we are in our suburbs or our smaller communities, people still live with the earth. Those are values, and the value continues. On top of that, knowledge is power. The more you travel, the more you see. And if you look at one of the reasons why non-Africans also come into Africa, is because it's cheaper to also travel Africa. So a lot of us with our little money, we take our money, we go to the West, we go to Europe and all these countries. We pay a lot of money for hotels. We have to buy the flight. We have to buy the train. Whereas the money you use to go to Europe, you can actually get a lot more of it within the continent. So yes, culture is tourism and travel. Travel and tourism is culture. We need to use that also to infuse knowing one another together. We need to make it a point. I mean, I said something earlier. I haven't seen one bad African country. And I've always been to, I've been to probably what, 80% of them. And when I go in, I live with the local. I buy the current music because, it doesn't matter what beats, doesn't matter what the age is. I buy the artifacts. I mean, you go to people's homes outside of Africa, you see how they ornament their homes with our artifacts. And we don't even do that ourselves. We don't even know how to appreciate those things. So the more you travel, the more those things happen and we all touch one another more.
Very good. I think what you said just reminded me of a quote by John Henry Clark that says, Africa is our center of gravity, our cultural and spiritual beating heart, no matter where we live on the face of the earth. So there's something unique and special about being African and being in Africa.
Even the shape of the map. Huh?
Yes. What would you say about the shape of the map?
No, I'm just saying that even the shape of the map is beautiful. I mean, if you look at the African map on pendants, on ornaments, it's unique. It is enticing more than most of the other maps of the other continents.
Yes, the map is as unique as the Africans. Right. So what other things should people expect from FESTAC Arusha 2023?
So, as I said, there will be the culture, there will be the arts and festival, and all those things will go on from about 12 noon every day to 12 midnight. You can come in and see cultures from different countries. We've got Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Morocco, Senegal, Ghana, Kenya. We've got people coming in, different cultural groups. If you go on our website or our social media handle, you see a lot of those guys there with what they're going to do. But I'm going to touch on some things that we are doing to bring the Africans together more beyond the arts and culture, because the arts and culture is a platform of commonality. But where we need to take the continent to is beyond that, in using that platform to help one another. The first thing is intra-Africa trade. There's going to be a trade expo and a luxury summit, because there's also luxury in Africa. People don't even realize how much luxury sits on the continent. One of the hotels we are using is called Grand Melia, probably one of the best hotels in the world. If you ever go there, it's a 5-star hotel. You can see that there's beauty also on the continent. We're also going to do the first luxury award to be held on African soil. It's been done in so many. The last one was in Turkey. Prayers to our friends in Turkey for the last disaster that just happened. But Africa is next for that. There's going to be a fashion show. There's going to be a panel discussion on e-commerce, trade and logistics, and climate change improvement. What do we need to do to sustain our culture through climate, with all these climate challenges that we have going on? There's going to be a one-day session on inter-Africa travel, which is how do you invest in tourism, okay? And how do we preserve our arts and crafts and get the best of it, and not sell something for $1 and somebody selling the same thing after they take it from you for $1,000. How can you be the one to sell that thing for at least close to what is worth on the international level? And also there will be visits to all those places that I mentioned earlier, the Kilimanjaros, the Serengeti, the wild migration and all that kind of stuff, and the museum. We also have sports tourism, because we believe sports is also under tourism and culture, right? Sports should be under that. Sports is actually a business opportunity for our countries that we are not even tapping. We are focusing on 3 sports. Excuse me. Golf. So we have golf happening with pros and amateurs. And we have in soccer, we're actually in coordination with the Bundesliga. We are bringing 2 teams out of Germany, Mainz 05 and Stuttgart, are coming to set up and promote soccer there. Again, to get our children to be excited in doing stuff as a continent, but also to improve soccer on the continent. We are working with some ex-NBA players to also do a basketball camp. We already started that project in Kenya. And it's going to be extended to FESTAC in Tanzania. We believe in telling our stories our own way. I'm sure you know Sarafina. Sarafina was a stage play that was staged over 30 years ago, and it actually, again, it's been in hiatus for about 30 years. So we are working with Dr. Mbogeni Ngema out of South Africa to bring Sarafina back as a stage play. And it's going to start from FESTAC. After 1 month in Tanzania, the show will start touring the world like it did 3 decades ago, which is, I think, is a big deal in what we are trying to do. There'll be a storytelling for kids. Last year, we worked with an organization called Destination Imagination out of the US. We did a 2-day event for children on STEM education. So we are working with them again to do that because we believe while we are having adults are growing together and having fun, our children should also gain some advantage from the opportunity also. In terms of the diaspora, I told you earlier, Dr. Julius Gave is coming. We are working with the diaspora people out of Kenya, and we are talking to the folks in Nigeria also. So do that in the diaspora. There's going to be a writers' retreat because a lot of people write in Africa. How can they understand how to market their writing? Okay. On terms of peace and security, there's going to be a 3-day executive masterclass on sustainable peace and security building through culture and tourism in partnership with the Center for Peace Research and Diplomacy, a UN affiliate. So they are coming there because they see that we are putting so many people together in one environment for 1 week. They asked for 3 days to come and do a masterclass there because peace and security is a big topic that we still need to talk about on the continent that we need to improve on. Of course, there's going to be food, there's going to be fun, there's going to be music. I'm not going to tell you who those acts are yet. As we get to reveal them, we'll reveal them. There'll be a big stage where entertainers will perform. We have food from different countries and drinks, of course, from different countries. And then to cap it all, we're going to do every person that comes to Arusha will be given a tree seed to plant by the Tanzania National Parks. You get to plant a tree on your own name, and it can be a tree you can check on 10 years later and say, I planted a tree here in 2023 as my tree grew. So there's a lot of that we pack into the 1 week to just make sure we don't leave anybody out. So start packing your bags and make sure I see you in Arusha.
Well, I think 3 things really caught my attention. The planting of the trees, because I think that makes me realize that you're actually thinking about the environment and the future of our planet. And then the importance of telling the African stories, because when we tell our stories ourselves, it helps us understand ourselves better and the world around us, and also helps us to be more empathetic towards each other, as well as enriching our lives and knowledge about each other as well.
That's correct.
So can you also tell us a little bit more about the luxury award? What is it about? What is the criteria for that?
So the luxury award is going to be run by the Luxury Network. It's an organization based in London, and it's in about 25 countries around the world, and I think 5 countries in Africa. And it's a B2B networking platform to grow businesses in the luxury world. So a lot of production or manufacturing is done in Africa, that people take products from here and enter them as luxury products in other countries. So we first of all need to understand what we do. And the first thing we need to do, because focusing on luxury make you produce or manufacture high quality products. So a lot of time when you do quality, you automatically falls into luxury. So there's going to be criteria will be on the website. I don't want to go into each details on what they are, but if you feel that you are doing something or you are manufacturing something that you think is high quality, you can go enter your product. I mean, the least you can happen is you don't win, but hey, you might be shocked yourself that you win. So don't hold back. Be proud of what you manufacture. We have a lot of things made. I mean, there are people in Africa that make black soap, right? In different forms. So it's not limited to your Louis Vuittons. It's not limited to your big names. And even those big names, they're always looking for smaller manufacturers that they can partner with and brand along with. So look on the platform to get the good information on what it is, and please join us.
Okay, so you nominate yourself, or other people can nominate your products for the award.
Correct. You can nominate yourself, or someone can nominate you also.
Okay, all right. So, can we expect from Inspire Africa Connect?
Say that again. I didn't hear that.
What more can we expect from Inspire Africa Connect?
For just one thing you can always expect from us is anytime you deal with us, you're going to have fun. That is guaranteed. We don't have a boring second in anything we do. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. We do networking. The important thing is to get people to network and know one another. So everything we do, I mean, we actually have a program called Executive Network. We have a 4-hour event that we do in different countries to even bring executives together and use that platform for them to do CSR events or opportunities within their country. So you would always network. You're always going to travel because we want you to travel and tour the location where you are. We are hoping and praying that turns into trade. We've created some platform for you to trade, but we believe that you knowing one another will do more good longer term. And that's why we put what we do together. And again, you're going to have a good time. And you're going to want some more. And you will be coming to FESTAC every year. What else can I say?
Every year. Okay, that's good. So what's your personal wish for Africans worldwide?
More peace, more love, stop all the killing. I mean, look at Nigeria today, so unnecessary. There's a lot of pains inflicted on Africans by some of the leaders ignorantly, because I don't think most times people just sit down and want to destroy others. A lot of time it's just out of ignorance or out of carelessness or carefree. And there's no amount of money you can acquire. You're gonna die one day. So why acquire at the back or at the demise of other people's lives? Those things need to stop. And those things also pull us back as people. If it's anything that's truncating our development, it's a shame when today, 2023, you still look at television and our streets are still that dusty brown, the same dusty brown that was there 40 years ago. And people are leaders of the countries for the last so many 30, 40 years, and there's no improvement in your people's lives or your children's lives. And you are able to say you're a leader and you continue wanting to lead. To me, that's the pain of the continent. The average African has done a wonderful job individually, but we cannot get there individually. We need collective efforts. We also need the effort and the assistance of our leaders, because you can't move a lot of things by yourselves. So I plead for peace, security, and give opportunities to the children coming behind us so the continent can be better. That's my message.
That's such a beautiful message for us to promote peace, love, security, and we should we should honor each other. Yeah,
That's
for
correct.
us to move forward. Any final words?
Well, thank you, Cleveland, for inviting us. And I've talked to your organization. I want you guys to pack your bags. I'd like for you guys to come and broadcast a whole week out of Arusha during that week, because what you guys are doing is a great thing in trying to bring Africans together in the diaspora. And every one of us need to come together. We are not competing. And that's one of the things that Africans get wrong. People look at other people and look at them as competition, whereas the continent is big enough that we don't even have enough people doing what we do. So we ask people to come together, even people that are doing the same business. You might find some power in your synergy rather than worried about somebody taking from your food. So we ask you guys, please, now to come, be part of the event, and work with us on a lot of what we do, and let's see how we can grow and make this continent a better place.
Indeed, Africa is a beautiful country, continent.
It's a country.
Yeah, Yeah, Africa is a beautiful country.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and it's our duty to keep the conversation going because united we stand, divided we fall, and there's so much more that we can achieve together. So this
Correct.
is a message promoting love, unity, and security amongst ourselves. It was nice having you on the show, and I learned a lot through our conversation today. Thank you for honoring us today.
Thank you very much. I look forward to joining you guys again. My door is always open. If there's anything we can do to promote the continent together, I am available. Have a wonderful day. How do you say it? Buenos dias is good is good money, right?
I'm not
I
sure.
said, I
Yes.
said buenos noches. Buenos noches. I,
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, I was in conversation with Mr. Yinka Abioye, who is the chairman of Inspire Africa Connect and the organizer of FESTAC Arusha 2023. And we're talking about FESTAC Arusha 2023, and we're also talking about culture and tourism in Africa. I am Lola Oladokun. I hope to see you again next time. Have a good day.
bye-bye. Thank you very much.
In the 21st century's technological advancement, we all seek opportunities to move and network with the emerging space. Introducing Clevenard blog and event posting. Do you think you have some interesting materials, good content, articles, and stories?